Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. Things are not going too well over at Warner Brothers, especially in their games division. What could possibly be leading to such troubles? Well, we go over to that Park Place. John F. Trent writes, Warner Brothers Discovery reports game division saw a 41% decline in revenues as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has lost over 98% of its players. My goodness, who could have possibly seen that coming besides everyone who put their hands on the game? You would think that they would have learned a lesson from last year when, they had the number one selling single player game in for the year that was ignored at Jeff Keighley's so-called award show. Maybe instead of slipping over to a live service game, pushing a live service game, maybe go back to, I don't know, a fun little single-player game. How about that? But what do we know? We're just gamers. In the company's earnings release for 2024 Q2, the company revealed its game division revenue declined 41%. Oopsie. Well, I guess when you have a number one game of the year, make massive amounts of money, and you follow that up with the worst game of the year with a 98% drop-off, I guess we can definitely see how that revenue dropped. Oof. Games revenue declined 41% XFX. Okay. Primarily driven by the abysmal performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League this year compared to the strong performance, to say the least, of Hogwarts Legacy, despite the massive boycott that was attempted on that one. Kind of had the opposite effect. Who could have thunk it? On top of the revelation of their revenue decline 41%, the company's CFO, Gunnar Vindelfels, commented during the company's earning call, while, as we've called out last quarter, games are still struggling against last year's Hogwarts Legacy comp, and a muted response muted. Isn't it always fun listening to the words or reading the words that they use to downplay the astronomical disaster that a product can be? Because that's what Suicide Squad was. Kill the Justice League. It was an astronomical disaster. There's other more, colorful words to use, but you have a game that has a single player aspect, of course, but it is primarily, they wanted it to be a fun multiplayer co-op game that you could play with your friends, with all sorts of people online over and over again. They added Battle Pass, they added skins, they added cosmetics, and boy, oh boy, were those cosmetics met with a lovely little fanfare. They hoped, they bet, and they lost to the house. The company's CEO and president of global streaming and games, JB Perrett, also addressed the game on the call as well. He said, quote, "The reality is we've had the unfortunate in the short period of 12 months. We've had the unfortunate. The reality is we've had the unfortunate in the short period of 12 months. We went from having a record year that we had in 2023 with a single-player game in Hogwarts Legacy, to unfortunately having the opposite side of the spectrum with a failed, disgraceful, piss-poor story, bad mechanics of Suicide Squad." I'm paraphrasing. Weidenfels previously detailed at the company's 2024 Q1 earnings call that the company saw $400 million plus year-over-year decline, and apparently $200 million of that was the Suicide Squad. He shared, starting with the studio, the $400 million plus year-over-year decline in Q1 was primarily due to very tough competition we faced in games against the success of Hogwarts Legacy last year in the first quarter. In conjunction let me finish reading this. In conjunction with the disappointing Suicide Squad, they keep using those words, it's way worse than disappointing. Suicide Squad released this past quarter, and we impaired, which we impaired, leading to a $200 million, my goodness, impact to the EBITDA, during the first quarter. So he wants to bring up competition here. Where did he say that? Very tough competition we faced. So was there zero competition last year? I mean, Hogwarts Legacy apparently wasn't even good enough to sniff a nomination at Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. So obviously, there was a massive amount of competition last year, different little games to go up against Hogwarts Legacy. So how did tough competition compete with Suicide Squad? If only you had thought about making a fun game that respected the characters that you decided to destroy. Oh, we're going to bring them back. I believe in the most recent announcement, is it the most recent season, they brought the Flash back? Well, too late. The damage has already been done. You bring up competition, but you don't offer any examples, but whatever. Back during the company's 2023 Q4 earnings call, the company CEO David Zaslav also hinted that the game was a big miss for the company. Quote, on the theatrical and gaming side, which we did have some real misses this year, we also had some really big wins, including Barbie, the #1 movie globally and the most successful movie in the history of Warner Brothers. Really? Barbie was your most successful? Wow. And Hogwarts Legacy, the biggest game of 2023, and yet did not get any nominations whatsoever at good old Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. It's almost makes you want to think that maybe Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards are a little bit biased. But why would we make that accusation? Weidenfels could confirm in a later call that this year Suicide Squad, one of the key video games. They keep talking it up, but it didn't. No, it didn't. Key video game releases in 2024 has fallen short of our expectations since its release earlier in the quarter and has plummeted off a cliff as far as interest goes, for sure, setting our games business up for a tough year-over-year comp in Q1. Here's a thought. Again, I keep beating the dead horse, but hey, every video is somebody's first. How about make it fun first? I'm not adding that last little bit, Steve. Make it fun first. It's so simple. Make it fun first. Think about your target audience. Think about who you're marketing this to. Think about the gameplay, the story, the writing, the dialogue. Most recently, I've been talking about the Saints Row reboot. I thought that game, again, I had it on PlayStation 5. Got it for free. Wasn't even going to pay $1 for that game. No chance of that. It was free with my PlayStation subscription. Anyway, I played that game. I had to try it out. Visually, I thought it was pretty good. The fighting mechanics, including the see you next Tuesday punt, I thought were funny as hell. And the vehicle customization, absolutely beautiful. I enjoyed all those aspects of the game. And what killed me, what I could not handle, was the dialogue. Something as simple as that, the dialogue in a game. When you don't put enough care and logic and sense into even the dialogue of a game, you can turn people away, shut it off, refund, or talk about it and keep other people from buying it. And that is a lot of what happened with Suicide Squad. The dialogue, the boss fights, the action sequences, the lack of diversity, actual organic diversity in the enemies, in the enemy NPCs that you were fighting. It was just cookie cutter, copy paste over and over and over again. For some games, that can be exciting. That can be accepted when everything surrounding that gameplay loop is fun. When different aspects, not every aspect of a gameplay loop is going to be a hit. You'll have hits and misses. If the hits outnumber the misses, then you will generally get a successful game. Unfortunately, Suicide Squad seemed to have failed across all fronts. And, well, maybe go back to basics, go back to single-player games, a nice little self-contained, unless, of course, you do Hogwarts Legacy 2, then you should really do, not a live service game, but make it co-op multiplayer with 3 players. That was pretty much the only thing I think was missing from Hogwarts Legacy. Let's move on. The game has led oh my goodness, 126, probably at the time of this article. Holy wow. The game has led an all-time peak concurrent player base of 13,000 and never even came close to sniffing it again. Despite having what, 2 seasons now? They added the flamboyantly gay Joker and the obnoxiously bull-dyke Mrs. Freeze. I got opinions on that, but let's keep going. When it released in the beginning of February, according to Steam database, however, I wouldn't even buy this game on a heavy sale. They had the deluxe edition, the normally priced what, $80, $85, or was it $70? They had it discounted to $25, and I wouldn't even allow someone to give me the money to buy that game. It just looks so horrid. Let's see. However, those players quickly abandoned the game, with the peak concurrent players now below 1,000 by the end of February. In the last 24 hours, the game's peak concurrent number of players was 229. My goodness, a decline of 98%. These games do not survive like this. How long? What do you think? We got about 4 more months, maybe 2 more seasons before they just decide to chalk it up as a loss, shut it down, and move on? Or at least, if nothing else, announce that they will soon be shutting everything down, which, regardless of what you think, there are people who spent money in the game to buy skins, to buy the extra stuff, to buy the battle passes if they are cost, or if they're paywalled. And even if whether you like the game or not, that's a shitty move to do to those people who actually tried to support your game, regardless of anyone else's opinion. What do you make of Warner Brothers Discovery reporting the games division saw 41% decline? Not surprised whatsoever. If Suicide Squad had been more of a success, if they had put more care and thought into how they took down the Justice League instead of the way they did, the game may have been more successful. Better mechanics, more variety in enemies, and less of a grind with the boss fights. From what I could tell, the boss fights were just... they didn't seem to use the superheroes' ability set, their power set, to go against you as the player. So, but anyway, 41% drop when you have a massive game like Hogwarts Legacy 1 year and a massive flop, you can definitely expect. I'm surprised it's only a 41% drop, to be honest, but that's all I got. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things those YouTubers beg you to do, and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye-bye.